All right, I think I see, let's go ahead and start sitting down this morning. I know I said we're gonna almost always start standing up, but let's start sitting down. I've chosen to sit cross-legged because that's comfortable for me, but get into a position that is comfortable for you. And we wanna be able to raise our chest, spine is long, shoulders are relaxed. And we're just gonna take a couple of breaths. Just breathe in and out intentionally. Nothing manipulating here, just settling in. Coming into connection with our yoga mats.
Sorry, I just wrote a long message. It's not important at the moment.
Okay. All right, so let's move our chin a little bit. Lowering chin down, getting a stretch in the neck and shoulders. Take a breath or two there. If you can, breathe in and out through your nose. And with an inhale, bring your chin up, slightly stretching the neck. Bring your head back to center. With an inhale, turn your head to the right, just looking over your shoulder that direction. Notice any tightness, tension, or pulling that you have in the left side or in the right side. Taking a breath or two, just kind of checking in to see where the restriction is when you turn your head, if there is any. And then to the other side, same thing. Coming back to center. Lowering the chin down towards the chest once again. Keep the spine straight. With an inhale, we're going to roll the chin over toward the right shoulder. And with an exhale, rolling the chin back to center. Inhaling over to the left side. And when you're ready, exhaling back to center. With an inhale, slowly raise the chin up. Looking up. And with an exhale, bringing head back to center. And we're going to do some shoulder circles. With an inhale, raising shoulders up towards the ears, kind of hunching the shoulders up, creating tension, but then drawing them back and down on the exhale. And inhale, shoulders forward and up. Exhale, shoulders back and down. One more time. Inhale, shoulders up and back and down on the exhale. Let's go the other direction. Shoulders coming back and up and forward and down. And two more times. Up, forward, down. One more time. Up, forward, down. All right. Taking a side stretch, bring your right hand to the ground on the outside of your legs. With an inhale, reach left arm up and overhead, stretch, getting into the left side of your body, keeping the side body open. rather than closing in towards the chest. Maybe looking up towards your hand. One more breath here. And then with an inhale coming up, we'll go on to the exhale to the other side. Left hand comes down, right arm up and overhead. And one more breath here. Stretch that right arm. With an inhale, come on back up, bringing that arm down. Let's come to our hands and knees. Where we're gonna move through 2 cats and 2 cows. With hands or wrists directly underneath the shoulders, fingers facing forward, and an inhale to a cow pose. Sorry guys, cow pose, and an exhale to a cat pose. So dropping the chin, rounding the spine, pressing the hands through the floor. Inhale, reversing that in a cow pose. One more time to cat. And back to cow. Finding then a neutral spine. Let's take a downward facing dog to stretch the back of the body. If downward facing dog isn't so great for you, take a child's pose to stretch your back. Curling the toes under, hips up. Pressing the armpits toward the thighs. Pedaling your legs out if you would like to, bending your elbows, turning your head, whatever feels good to wake your body up. One more breath here. With an inhale, walking your feet up towards your hands, bringing you into a forward fold. Relax your head down. Enjoy that forward fold for a moment. Maybe a little bit of movement into that forward fold. When you're ready, placing your hands at your thighs, taking a half back salute, lengthening through the spine, chest parallel to the ground. Send the tailbone back and chest forward as though your back is a tabletop. And with an inhale, come all the way up to standing. All right, any movement that your body's wanting to make, go ahead and make it. All right, so we're gonna go over a tree pose real quick so that we can add it to our flow. So tree pose being a hip opening balance pose. We never wanna forget the hip opening aspect of it. A lot of times in a balancing posture, all of our focus goes into the balance aspect and we kind of lose the movement of the pose. So tree pose is a hip opener. So starting from mountain pose, we want to find that balance in our feet. That's going to be key to our balancing pose. So toes spread wide, feet flat on the ground. finding balance throughout the feet. And we want to find our drishti or focal point. So focal point at this time of day usually is going to be most accessible on the floor area or slightly above the floor. Something to kind of stare at, to focus on, about 7 or 8 feet in front of you. And it might just be a fleck on your carpeting or flooring. Something to kind of focus on. And we're going to start by utilizing our right leg as the standing leg. So we're going to contract that leg, squeezing the thigh muscles, which should already be squeezed if you're in mountain pose, but still contracting the thigh muscles. We're going to mindfully open the left hip. So opening the toes, knees, and hip to the left. Okay. Draw your tummy in for engagement to support the posture. And then bring that left foot up the right leg. This can be below the knee or above the knee, but be mindful not to put it against the joint of the knee. Once your foot is up, press your right leg against your left foot and press your left foot against your right leg, creating balance in the center. And then let's bring both arms up overhead, creating a sort of Y, I think, is where we're going to start this morning. And then for full expression of the pose, we'll bring the palms together overhead. One more breath. Keep that left hip open. Lower hands down to the heart. Left knee comes forward, closing the hip, and then foot down to the ground. Good. Lower your arms down, shake it out a little bit, and come back to mountain pose. All right, to the other side. Left leg is strong, foot is balanced, thigh is engaged, right hip, knees, toes, opens to the right, really opening that hip. Okay, find your focal point if you lost it. Engaged core lifts the right leg or the right foot up against the left leg. So my natural tendency when I go into tree pose is to pop my standing hip out. Be careful not to do that. Engage the inner thigh so that you're not popping the hip out. Foot can be below the knee or above the knee, but not against the knee. Once you're kind of stable there, bring your arms up into a Y posture. The right knee open. You might even squeeze your left buttocks to help stabilize. Keep track of that focal point. And one more breath. Hip stays open. Palms together overhead. And then lower your hands down to your heart. Right knee comes forward and right foot down. Shake it out a little bit. I don't want to spend time on this, but I do want to offer the alternative. If you would like to sort of advance a little bit, you could go into a half lotus, which is very similar to a tree, except for as you're opening the hip and bringing your foot up, the foot rests on your hip bone on the top of the thigh, rather than the foot into the thigh. So it comes up into a half lotus rather than a tree. So that's an alternative you can take if you'd like. In a flow, it's a lot easier to find a tree, a lot kind of simpler to do that when you're going through a flow. So, but wanted to put it out there, that's an option. All right, so before we go on, if there's any questions about the tree pose, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask about it. All right. With that said, we're gonna go into a flow with a warrior one, a warrior two, a reverse warrior, and a side angle pose. Okay. From the top of our mats, mountain pose. Looking straight forward, chin is parallel to the ground, fully engaged. Don't just come to standing. You want to come to an alive, awake mountain pose. When you are ready with an inhale, arms wide, reach up tall. Let's bring the palms together, add a little back bend if you like to. And then exhale, coming into a forward fold. Inhale, bring it halfway back up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, hands come down. We're going to step back to plank pose. Engage your core here, shift your weight forward. Exhale, lower down to the ground. Point your toes, inhale up to cobra pose. While we're here in cobra, we're going to see what it would feel like to lift the right leg off of the ground just a little bit, and put it back down. And then the left leg off of the ground just a little bit, put it back down. Good. Curl the toes under, downward facing dog. With an inhale, right leg's gonna come up behind us. And an exhale, right foot stepping forward to between the hands. Left toes turning out slightly to prepare for warrior one with an inhale, raising up to warrior one. With an exhale to warrior two, arms come down, left foot opens, left hip opens. An inhale will take us to a reverse warrior, left hand, left thigh, right arm reaches up and back. Let's take an inhale into a side angle pose. And exhale there. Inhale to warrior two. We're going to exhale back to a warrior one. Both arms come up, left foot steps out. And then we're going to move into a tree pose. Weight shifts into the right leg, left knee comes forward and opens. It was that a tough transition, kind of a tough transition. With an inhale back to warrior one. And an exhale, hands come down to the ground, left toe pivots forward, step back, plank pose. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up behind you. Exhale, left foot steps forward, right toes turn up, raising up for warrior one. Exhale to warrior two, right hip opens, right foot opens. Inhale to a reverse warrior, right hand, right thigh, left arm reaches up, bend back. Exhale, side angle pose, left forearm, left thigh, right arm reaches up overhead. Take a full breath there. Inhale back to warrior two. Exhale, transition to warrior one, right hip steps to the right a little bit. Both arms reach up. And then stepping forward into tree pose. With an inhale back to warrior one. And an exhale, hands come down, right toes pivot forward, left foot steps back. Shift weight forward and lower down to the ground. With an inhale, cobra pose. In our cobra pose, again, try lifting the right leg off of the ground just a little bit. And down, left leg up. And down. Let's take a child's pose. One more breath in our child's pose. And we're going to do that slow one more time. When you're ready, making your way to a downward facing dog. From a downward facing dog, walking feet up to the hands for a forward fold. With an inhale, engage the core, lengthen the spine, arms wide. Come on up to overhead with the hands. Palms together, little back bend if it feels good. And an exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway back up, lengthen the spine, press the tailbone back. Exhale, hands come down, stepping back to a plank pose, engage the core, shift weight forward. On an exhale, lower down to the ground. Inhale, lift the chest up. Let's try lifting those legs up again. Right foot up and down, left foot up and down. With an exhale to downward facing dog. Then an inhale, right leg up behind you. Exhale, right foot steps forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, side angle pose. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, warrior one. Inhale here. And then exhale, transition to tree pose. One full breath here. With an inhale, back to warrior one. Exhale, vinyasa to the other side. Hands come down, left toes pivot forward, step back. Engage the core, shift forward, lower down. Inhale, cobra pose. Lifting the left leg. And down. Lifting the right leg. And down. Downward facing dog. With an inhale, left leg comes up behind you. Exhale, left foot steps forward, right toes turn out. Breathe into warrior one. Breathe out to warrior two. Breathe into reverse warrior. Breathe out to side angle pose. Breathe into warrior two. Breathe out to warrior one. Breathe in here. Breathe out to tree pose. Full breath here. With an inhale, back to warrior one. And an exhale, vinyasa down. Right, pivot forward, step back, plank pose, step forward, lower down. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, child's pose. Very good. That was a lovely morning vinyasa. Great way to get the juices flowing for the day. It's a nice way for your body to greet the morning. And let's come on up to a seated position again. Bring both legs out in front. Have some water. We're going to bend the right knee, cradling it. So right hand to right knee, left hand to left foot. And we're going to do some hip rotations. Okay, so, and they're going to move kind of quickly into a morning energy. So circling the hip, it's not a real big movement. And we're going to pick up the pace a little bit so that it's a fast circle. And then we're going to change directions. One more. Good, and then see if you can bring, now you might not be able to, but see if you can bring your hands up underneath the leg to kind of cradle it, pulling it in, getting a deeper hip stretch for about 2 breaths. Good, and then release that right foot to the outside of the left thigh. Tall through the spine. We're going to take a little twist here. Left toes engaged toward your body. Right hand comes behind your back. Twist gently, easing into a twist to your right. Left arm toward the outer right thigh. That's pretty deep. I didn't offer any modifications there, so go ahead and modify as needed, whatever works for you. And when you're ready to release, we'll go to the other side. Bending the left knee, right hand to the left foot, left hand to the left knee, and we'll do those hip rotations, circling at the hip. Picking up the speed a little bit. And in the other direction. Good, and then if it's available to you, bringing your hands underneath the leg to pull the hip in a little bit tighter. Again, modifying to suit you. That's a big ask of your hip. And then headed toward that twist, we're going to bring the left foot to the outside of the right thigh. Engage the right toes toward your body. Sitting up nice and tall. Left hand's coming to behind the back or toward behind the back. And right arm is coming toward the outer left thigh as we ease into a twist. You never want to jump right into a twist because your spine might not be real happy to twist. So you always want to kind of ease into it to see where your body's at. Good. When you're ready, release forward. We're going to move into a butterfly pose where we're going to stay for our breathing meditation. So bottom of the feet together, hands wrapped around the feet, ribs pulled up out of the tummy. If a butterfly pose for you is just not comfortable at all, go ahead and come into a comfortable seated position. We're going to bring our hands to our belly. Sitting up tall. And again, you don't have to be in butterfly pose if that doesn't work for you. Nice and tall. Let's gently soften or close our eyes. We're going to just take 3 breaths, acknowledging, noticing the way that feels on our hands as the belly rises and falls. Notice your hands against your belly and your belly against your hands. Any sensations that might come up for you as you breathe that way. And notice where else you might feel it in your body. From there, we're going to bring our hands back to our feet into a full butterfly, or if you've found a different position, just let your hands rest in front of you. And breathe, just tuning into your breath, listening to the rise and fall, or feeling the rise and fall of your breath. Allow a feeling of calm to just wash over you. Allow your shoulders to soften. Allow your face to be at ease. Allow your mind to be at ease. Allowing a cool and calm presence throughout your body and mind. And acknowledge that any calm that you found was right there in you all along. You just needed to tune in. It's always there for you. For the sake of time, I'm going to leave it here, but I encourage you, if you're able, to take a few minutes in Shavasana, just lying down in relaxation, to take that time. But if you can't, this is a wonderful way to end your practice. So any way that you would like to close out your yoga practice this morning, find that way. I encourage you to thank yourself for making it to the mat. And it's always an honor to get to share this time with you. So until Monday, namaste.